I'm back again here, and of course I'm back with probably the toughest walleye conditions a guy could think of. So I don't know how it's going to go today, but we've had, I think, 9 days straight of just heavy wind. We had, I think, 4 or 5 days straight, maybe even 6 days straight. We're in 90 degrees south wind. It was hot. I mean, really hot. I mean, I got. Oops.
Oh, he's coming.
There we go.
I got it.
Got him.
I seen him on the ground.
That was cool.
That was cool.
Even a walleye. Yep, even a walleye. Yeah. Unreal.
Do you need a net? For keeping him?
It's a nice walleye,
nice walleye
too. Well, that was neat. Watched him come right in on the live scope. Come up and drilled it. I didn't know if these were walleyes in here or not.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But they are.
You could see him plain as day on the graph.
Yeah, plain as day.
Tail and everything.
Huh. Oh, he's milking. He's got jizz all over the boat. He is milking like a bastard. That was neat.
Oh, I should probably check my bait.
Why didn't you check it when you had it up? Oh, here comes another one. Here comes another fish. Swim right by mine. Here comes another one behind that one. Well, this one might be, nope. Get ready. Huh. The two of them swim through. That was cool. Yeah, it's like I said, we marked some on this shoreline here in a little bit deeper water than what I thought. So I just told Mrs. let's put the boat in anchor mode and sit right over top of them, see what happens.
Right.
Well, who's gonna make?
Oh!
No, you broke your reel.
Yeah, how am I gonna bring him in?
Oh, Lord Almighty, lady, how did you do that?
I didn't even do anything. He's still on there.
Well, crank the reel. Man, we got a catastrophe going on here. She broke her reel off. So I'm holding the rod while she tries to hold the reel and reel. Sucker. There ain't really nothing to narrate. This is a sucker.
He friggin' took my rod and friggin'...
Well, you were holding on by the reel, weren't you?
No, I had it by the thing. I caught it by the reel when it let go.
Good Lord. Good Lord, I've frickin' seen it all now.
Reel in her hand?
Yeah.
Really? What are you trying to run up us?
Now you're gonna have to use your other one.
You don't have my other rod in here?
Well, yeah, I got more rods in here, but...
Oh.
And then all of a sudden we got a heavy north wind. The last 2.5 days we've got, depending on where you're at, 2 to 4 inches of rain. It is cold out this morning. It's like 36 degrees. Walleyes are still in the spawn, so it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. I know everybody likes to pitch in, you know, up in the shallows and this and that, but I'm not gonna do that today. I'm gonna do a little something different. Show you guys how I like to fish in circumstances like this. I do things a little bit different, but that's all right. We'll see if it works, but I'm just heading out of the bay. The water's like chocolate milk in here from the wind. Water temp in here shows 48 degrees, which is telling me that it's probably going to be a lot colder out in the main lake. So not good. Strike one there. Big front, cold front. Strike two. Walleyes in the middle of the spawn, and I'm pretty sure it shut everything down, so that's kind of strike three. But hell, we're going to send it here this morning. Do the complete opposite of what a guy probably should do. You know, this time of year, being the spawn's going on, being it's really spring, you know, everyone's casting up shallow. But what I'm doing is I found a rock point here. Well, it's scattered rock and it comes out to a little point inside of a bay, And the water's a little bit murkier than what I would like because of the wind, but I got 48 degree, I think it was roughly 48, 49 degree water temp. So what I'm going to do, being that we've had this big front, is I'm going to move off actually that shallow water down to the next drop. What I mean by that is from, you know, that 4 to 6 feet, 4 to 8 feet, 4 to 10 feet, whatever. I'm going to drop down. It drops down into 15 feet onto a shelf, and then drops down into a little bit deeper water, down into 20 feet. So I'm going to stay on top of that 14-foot shelf, and I'm not going to pitch. I'm going to just vertically jig. And what I use, or what I'm going to use, is the tungsten Northland jig, 1/8 ounce with a minnow. And then I'm just going to drop this over the side and watch my live scope. And then watch what the fish do if they do come in. And then actually for just a, for a dead stick, since I can use 2 rods, I'm going to use a drop shot. And I know a lot of guys use drop shots in the summer, and that's mainly when everybody uses them, but drop shots are actually really good for dead sticks too. So I'm just going to drop this one right over the side and let it sit with the minnow on and nothing else, and just leave it sit. And then I'm going to watch the live scope, see if I can have fish come in. If I do get fish coming in, I want to see their behavior. Now, when I drop this down off the bottom, I'm not going to sit and rip hard. What I'm going to do is, once I get it to the bottom, being that it is a front and the fish are going to be real finicky, I'm just going to lift it a couple inches, bring it back down the bottom. I'm going to leave it sit for 5 to 10 seconds before I touch it again, and just bring it up real slow and drop it right back down. Just real slow, real finessey. I don't want to get too aggressive. I want to see what the behavior of the fish are before I get too aggressive. So, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of keep hopping from spot to spot to do this. And I know it kind of sounds boring to a lot of people, but the idea is, being there's going to be so finicky right now and so touchy, I want to sneak into spots and just, you know, pull up real slow, hit the anchor mode on the trolling motor, drop everything down. Like when I came in here, I got into this bay and I stopped about 100 yards out. I shut the big motor off. I used the trolling motor to come in here and kind of get where I wanted to go and kind of go from there. I know I got a little bit of a chop out here today, so that should help, but we got everything stacked against us today, so I really need to be real quote-unquote sneaky coming in here and doing this. And the idea isn't going to be catching 20 fish a day, because really that's not going to happen this time of year with this big cold front. Not to mention we did have 2 to 4 inches of rain drop on us. So I just want to move in here. I want to kind of pick every spot apart. I want to use live scope and scan and everything to see if there's anything around, and I'm just going to slowly move to the next spot and keep going. Now the next spot I'm probably going to try is, a little bit cleaner water, being that this is really murky compared to what it normally is. But I wanted to get in the back side of this point. You know, like I said, due to the walleyes are really finicky right now, you know, I believe they're going to be in the back side of that point on that next drop, getting out of the wind, getting out of the everything. And the reason I'm not casting up shallow is because this water has just been fluctuated with temperatures. I don't believe those fish want to be up in that shallow right now. I believe that the water temp has gone up, it's gone down a couple degrees here and there. I think they're really not going to want to sit in that fluctuating water temp, so they're going to want to move out to where that water temp is least consistent. And they may just sit there, they may roam a little bit, they may just sit tight, but it's going to be a tough day. The sun has come out. It's the first time we've seen the sun in a long time. Well, 3 days, I guess. But this is all I'm going to do. I like doing things a little bit different. I don't like doing things the way, quote unquote, everybody else does it. So I like doing things a little bit different. Plus I love the vertical jig. I'd love to try to catch walleyes, you know, in a finesse type of way, but I'm hoping to get 2, 3, 4 fish today. That's what my goal is. That's what I'm hoping. I'm not going to expect 10 to 20 fish. So I'm going to get at it. I'm going to start watching my graph and see what if I can find some kind of pattern, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it's going to be a slower day, but I thought it'd be a great day to come out and kind of show you my method of how I go after this springtime cold front for walleyes. We got one going down the bobber. Not sure what it's going to be, but fish on. Be a bass? And by God, is it going to be a walleye here? Doesn't really feel like a walleye. Kind of more bassy, or maybe even a northern, maybe. I'm thinking bass. Catfish, you gotta be kidding me. Catfish on the slip bobber. Big old catfish too. Big old catfish. Big old girl here. Well, not what we were looking for, but they're fun. Jeez. Get this damn hook out of his mouth. I hooked him right in the jaw here. Holy moly. I'm gonna get the needle nose for this one. Oh, there we go. Look at the size of that cat. Unreal. There you go.
Walked here from Colorado. Oh, tell me you hired somebody else or something. Well, why do I have to tell him? Why don't you? You're the one that doesn't want to hire him.
There we go. Seen him come in. Kind of like a flash. I don't think it's a walleye. Yep, by God, it is. That is a walleye. Beautiful. Nice walleye too. Awesome. Not a lot of color on him. You can tell he's been roaming a lot, and well, maybe it's due to water clarity, but milking all over. Got him on a, believe it or not, I'm vertically jigging in, roughly 11 feet of water. And I tried doing some other stuff back in a bay here, and it was quite windy, got rough, water was dirty, but that 1/8 ounce, I think it's a Blue Glow Northland tungsten tipped with a minnow. And I'm not getting aggressive at all today. Like I said before, the weather is really been a bugger, so this is what I kind of been doing. Like I said, I didn't think we'd get a bunch of bites today. That wasn't really the point. It was more or less getting out here, trying to figure out what I can do in these tough conditions. And you know, it's a grind. It's a grind when it's like this, but I tell you what, it is still fun. I take more satisfaction in catching that fish on a day where you gotta grind than you do, I think, when you come out and you just pound them. So, you know, that old saying, you can't catch them if you're sitting on the couch, that's kind of my theory. Plus the weather's been just so crappy here a lot of the spring. Of course, with, you know, work and life and everything, it's tough to get out, you know, when you really only got the weekends to do it. So, you know, I got today to do it. Tomorrow's supposed to be windy. So I'm just going to keep kind of grinding away here, watching my graph, watching everything, and hopefully bring a couple more on the boat here. Kind of what we've got going on up in this And in this bay here is we got a north wind. Now granted, the guy would always want to fish the south side with being we've had some heavy winds, but I'll be honest with you, it's really rough on that side. I fished a bay for a while this morning that wasn't seeing much. The water was very murky. It's murky here too, but not quite as bad. So what I did is I came around up in this bay to where I could get out of the wind a little bit. And what I'm doing is it's just real gradual. It's a lot of scattered rock, mainly gravel, but we do got scattered rock here and there. And what I'm doing is I'm actually just vertically jigging over the side of the boat. I know that kind of sounds crazy in 10, 11 feet of water, but what these fish are doing is they're coming from the shallow water out to the deep. I think for a couple different reasons, to find some consistent water temp, and you know, maybe, I don't know if they're really searching for food, but they are kind of roaming. So I have marked fish coming from the shallow out to the deep, and all I'm doing is sitting in between them and kind of intercepting them as they go back and forth. And then what I got a bobber set up. I'll show you here real quick. It's Kalin's, I think it's called. It's the Kalin's setup. Kalin's slip bobber. And then what I did is, normally this lake is always good with blues, purples, whites, but being in the water is very, very, you know, stained from the wind and the rain we've had. I went with a gold hook instead, or a gold jig. That usually does really well for me, you know, when you get stained conditions. And then since the water is, you know, fairly cold yet, like 48.4 degrees in here, I think is what it was. I'm not using crawlers yet. I'm using nothing but minnows. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'll pitch it up kind of in front of me and just let that wind and the waves kind of slowly move this bobber back. So actually, you know, that jig is just kind of trolling in through there. Then once it gets kind of even with me, I'll reel it up and toss it back out again. All I've caught so far on a slip bobber is, I just got tangled up and wrecked my minnow, is a catfish, but regardless, see if it works here. But I've had about every half an hour I have a few fish come through it. It has not been fast and furious, that is for sure, but I'm going to keep at it and see if we can get something to happen here. Maybe when the sun comes out and starts warming things up a bit, maybe they'll start turning on a little more, start seeing more fish at least, but we'll see. There, we got one. Got one on the dead stick here. Don't think it's a walleye. Nope. Smallie. Oh, come on. One of the drop shot.